howdy folks, I'm here playing an N7 Paladin. Kind of an odd class. I just couldn't get it working for me at first. I really wanted to make it work, but in particular I struggled with choice of weapon loadout. I just couldn't find one that synergized with his abilities. I couldn't find one that I felt comfortable with, that supported the kind of ultra aggressive playstyle that I like, without encouraging me to be too aggressive and get myself killed all the time, but with enough kind of control and power that I could run into big groups of mobs and slap them in the face with my shield. Which is a huge part of the appeal of the Paladin to me. And then I came across the combination of Paladin plus Scorpion, and wow, that changed things. Now he is shot up overnight to becoming one of my favorite kind of general purpose support classes. As I leap over to Nemesis taking cover on that piece of scenery. But yes, N7 Paladin, lots of fun. So I'll just go over the spec I'm using first and the loadout. And then I'll talk through 6 waves of equipmentless solo on Cerberus, Glacier, Gold, and follow that up with a couple of highlights from the full equipment solo, which you just saw the hack objective on wave 6 of. Okay, so fairly standard 60666 power setup. Energy drain 6 points. Use it both to prime and detonate tech bursts if you're using Disruptor Ammo. Radius, that's important. Maximum crowd control, maximum stagger, also maximum shields drained if you're fighting a group of enemies, which with this build you will most of the time be doing. Doesn't do much damage anyway, it's not really much point in boosting the damage, I personally feel. But yeah, radius gives you a lot of crowd control potential with the power. And also means you get more shields back, of course. Train, give you your full shields, definitely worth it. The alternative recharge speed is not that important with this spec. I have very short recharge on it anyway. And armor boost, this is great. It allows you to be really considerably more survivable. I mean, you're not going to be able to take a huge amount of hits to the face anyway as the Paladin. You're not a Krogan, unfortunately. And the armor boost does just give you a little bit more margin for error, a little bit more leeway. And again, I regard it as more useful than the straight up damage. Incinerate, not a terrible power, but just other powers to focus on in this build. Snap Freeze, use this for crowd control again, for debuffing and for setting off tech bursts. I go with reach rather than damage. Again, I'm not focusing on the tech damage, I'm focusing on the control, so reach gives it a 15-meter range. That's pretty respectable. That allows you to hit stuff at relatively medium ranges, gives you a bit more flexibility. Cryo Explosion, your standard take more damage debuff. Duration and slow is okay too, but personally I'm more interested in the damage increase. But I mean, you can do whatever you want on rank 5. Rank 6, damage and weakness again, rather than tech combo. And again, this is a personal preference thing. I've gone for the 2 damage debuffs to try and be more supportive of a team. With the Scorpion, I don't get any benefit myself from the armor target weakening, and most of the stuff I'm hitting is going to die very fast anyway, whether it's got the damage increase or not. But I think this gives you a nice team synergy. You get the 10% damage debuff and the 25% armor weakening. It also does increase the damage a little bit, so that's nice. The damage of tech combos thing, I don't know if I've ever tried. I'm a little bit suspicious of it. I do use tech bursts a lot with this build, but I'm not entirely sure how this tech combo damage increase works. Something to find out. But I like damage and weakness, it works well. For the passive, I have damage and capacity. My Scorpion isn't yet high level enough that I can get 200% recharge without it. Power damage, just because the Scorpion can't get headshots, and weapon damage because my Scorpion is light enough with with damage and capacity that I don't need the weapon weight. Having a good cooldown is important, but it's nice that I can afford to take the weapon damage boost instead. Shield Mastery, not sure what to recommend here. I have it spec'd for melee damage in rank 4. Of course the Paladin's melee doesn't do a huge amount of damage. I'm not sure if it would be better to go with the durability. I honestly don't really notice much difference, so I go with the melee damage, because if I'm hitting something in close quarters, chances are I am keen for it to die. So yeah, I've gone with melee damage. Shield durability I would recommend, because I haven't tried without it, I have to recommend, but you'll be using energy drain to recharge your shields most of the time, and I don't regard that shield recharge delay as a particularly efficient use of points. This, however, gives you like nearly 5,000 damage absorb on your Omni shield that lets you tank even platinum level Geth Primes, Geth Pyros, stuff like that. You can take a few Atlas shots as well, Phantoms, that kind of thing. So when you're using the shield, I think it's nice to have it tricked out as much as possible, even if you won't be using it all that much. It's a clutch ability, and it gives you a little bit of extra team utility, but when you do use it, you want it to be as powerful as possible, and I think it just gives you more of an advantage over this shield recharge boost. Cryo or Flame Shield. Flame Shield looks kind of cool, but Cryo Shield will freeze any unprotected mook, including the Geth, which you can't. The fire effect won't panic Geth, so Cryo Shield lets you freeze anything that doesn't have shields. It also lets you freeze Phantoms solid, which is cool, if they don't have barriers. It also has that additional armor weakening, which the teammates might appreciate, and the snare, which is something I've never really noticed, but it can't hurt, right? Yes, so that's the power setup. Weapons, presently using just the Scorpion. Actually upgraded it since I recorded the videos, so that's kind of cool. I was using a ultralight Hurricane with an ultralight Scorpion before for the first few rounds, but I was mostly using the Hurricane as a backup weapon and to deal with Guardians in particular, but I found that on gold at least I don't need the backup weapon, and I can deal with Guardians now with the Scorpion now that I've had some practice. Scorpion, I've got magazine upgrade and barrel. Melee stunner would be an option, certainly. Don't feel the Paladin's melee does quite enough damage to justify it, and the advantage of the extra magazine capacity is that you get more crowd control in before you have to reload, and that's saved my life a few times. Piercing mod does absolutely nothing. Scorpion can't penetrate cover with it or without it, and it doesn't get affected by armor damage reduction anyway, so don't take a piercing mod. Scope, not really much point, it's pretty much pinpoint accurate, and I'm entirely using it at close ranges anyway. There's also a bit of travel time on the projectile, so I'm not sure what benefit a scope could possibly give you. Ultralight materials, that's fine if you need the extra cooldown. Cooldown reduction, my Scorpion is now at level 7, I get something like 184% cooldown, but at level 1 it would obviously be quite a bit heavier, and it's probably worth taking ultralight if you can't get a low cooldown without it. Of course you have to have the Scorpion unlocked first. I realise that may be tricky for some people. Other option, if you don't have a Scorpion, is the Falcon. You see, it's a lot heavier, but you can make up for that a little bit with power efficiency mods. Scorpion and Falcon very similar, so I'd again go with magazine and extended barrel on the Falcon. You could even use, dare I say it, the Crusade, but I would not personally recommend that. So yeah, Scorpion if you have it, you could try it with the Falcon if you don't. Okay, so the majority of this video is me testing the Paladin with the Scorpion and trying to get myself comfortable for it. What I've done for a long time before I play a new class in public games is I'll take it out onto a gold solo game and just see how far I can get. Learn from what goes wrong, then take it out again, see how far I can get. So obviously I don't use equipment because I'm going to be dying a lot, and also generally want to get a sense of the power of the class without equipment. So this is what I'm doing here, and it's probably the third or fourth outing I've done, so I'm starting to get into the hang of it. And this goes pretty well. I don't die, I don't have to use any ops packs. Well, I think I might use one on wave 6 just to shorten the pizza delivery a little bit. But I do have to finish it before finishing wave 6 because I had to respond to something in real life. But yeah, this went really well, and I was able to be fairly aggressive with him. I'll qualify that immediately by saying fairly aggressive, as in not treating him like a Krogan Vanguard. He does not naturally tank well. He's got his rolls which help him survive. He's got energy drain, which gives him a little bit of extra damage reduction too. He's got the area staggers from the Scorpion, energy drain and snap freeze, and he's got the shield he can deploy in a pinch. But what that means is that if you play smart, he can survive very well. If you expect him just to be able to run into a group of enemies and take shots to the face, he'll go down very quickly. Especially against Geth. I mean, he's really powerful against Geth with that energy drain, especially with Disruptor Ammo, and especially considering the Geth like to swarm the crap out of you, so the Scorpion AoE really demolishes them. But if you have him out in the open against a few Geth troopers, or Hunter, or Pyro, or whatever, he will drop like a stone. So yeah, I'm being aggressive, but I'm also being very careful. I'm using the corner advantage a lot. I'm using energy drain almost constantly when there's shielded things around, and I'm generally staggering and crowd controlling as much as possible. And that's what this spec is so good at. It's great with the AoE staggers, the AoE crowd control. You can freeze solid one unshielded enemy in front of you with your snap freeze, potentially two with your cryo shield melee, which is very, very fast as well. So yeah, survivability is potentially higher, but you have to be smart with it. And melee satisfyingly forms quite a large part of my my tactic for dealing with anything that isn't a Banshee or a Brute. As far as basic gameplay goes, you pretty much have already seen the gist of it. Using energy drain to stagger and give me the damage reduction, using Scorpion blasts ground fired normally to again stagger and deal AoE damage, and finishing up the snap freeze to set off tech bursts and to deal a bit of extra damage. Then if there's anything left, smack it in the face with a shield, which is great fun. And really, smacking stuff in the face with a shield is the main thing I wanted this guy to be able to do. And the Scorpion helps with that, both because of the stagger and because it forces me to just moderate my aggression a little bit, because you have to aim those pellets fairly carefully and you have to wait for them to explode. So yeah, the Scorpion, I didn't like it when I tried it with the Fury because it slowed me down too much, but with the Paladin it paces me pretty much exactly right. You see, if you fire a Scorpion pellet into like a trooper or anything that's not got shields, and then smack it away with your shield, you can turn it into a kind of explosive baseball, or ball from whatever bat and ball sport you particularly prefer. If I was using Disruptor Ammo, then I'd be doing more body shots, and of course the Scorpion doesn't trigger ammo powers unless it actually hits an enemy. So when you're using Disruptor Ammo, you'll want to use the ground fired shots for like immediate damage, immediate stagger, but use body shots as much as possible for the tech burst setup. Energy drain can detonate a tech burst from Disruptor Ammo. You can also prime a tech burst from snap freeze. So with Disruptor Ammo, you're pretty much tech bursting all day and all night, and it's pretty cool because you can just do it so fast and so reliably. that yeah, if you're not too sold on tech bursts, if you don't like the idea, don't think they work too well, then give it a try on the Paladin with a Scorpion and Disruptor Ammo, and you may just change your mind. At this point I hadn't really figured out how to deal with Guardians with the Scorpion. I don't use it a huge amount. I have a bit of trouble with them. I am at least able to rely on Snap Freeze to stagger them and give me a bit of breathing room. I do still find it hard to kill a Guardian quickly and reliably with a Scorpion, but if I've got a bit of time, then I'll shoot its toes or shoot just to the side of it and just behind the shield on the ground if it's moving slightly sideways. Mail slotting works, of course, and you can also attach the explosive blob of the Scorpion to something behind the Guardian. Although that seems to work with other enemies behind the Guardian, but I don't think it works with scenery, because I've tried the scenery thing a few times, and Guardians in general don't seem to respond properly to AoE effects landing behind them, at least not consistently. I've noticed the same thing with grenades. Yes, and you'll see just as I go, I'm getting energy drain off Nemesises to keep the energy, the damage reduction up, which makes a big difference. I, for some reason, often get devices when I try and solo Glacier, which is really tedious and annoying, especially against Cerberus, because they just lob grenades at you constantly, and you know, troopers can spawn and be on your position before you've finished the device, even if you've killed them all beforehand. So I got kind of lucky here. This guy only decides to throw his grenade when I'm finished, and the other guy who was shooting at me decided to spend most of his time hiding in cover, so that worked out quite nicely. But yes, devices on Glacier are the bane of my existence. It's always a pain in the ass, and you just get it more often than on any other map, it seems, as well. Yes, the other thing I struggle with as the Paladin on Cerberus is Nemesises. I know they are easy to kill in general, but you really don't want that that constant shield gating they do with their sniper shots if you're playing aggressively, because every time you get shot with a Nemesis hit, then you have to wait for your shields to regenerate, or you have to find something to energy drain. The Nemesis will work for that, of course, which is kind of poetic, I suppose, but you still have to cope with the shield gate cooldown. So if you get shot from a Nemesis and immediately energy drain her, you may have full shields, but your shield gate will still be on cooldown, and you can still get health gated with the next shot, which is a little bit tedious. To hear the Atlas finally turns around and decides to rocket me. Obviously without any equipment it's going to take me a while to kill this Atlas with a Scorpion. Even with equipment it's not fast. But the advantage is, especially if you're using Disruptor Ammo, that you just get loads of AoE off it. Energy Drain, Snap Freeze, Scorpion Explosions, all AoE, and of course with Disruptor Ammo you're also getting Tech Bursts. One thing I didn't do there is I didn't bait the Atlas's fire before I moved position. If you are facing off against a boss and you want to move cover, then don't just break cover and run. Try to bait its some kind of attack from it before you move. Melee attack is good because it tends to take them a while to do it, but it can be dangerous as well, especially if you're not hosting. But just getting into the fire animation is also fine, and as soon as it stops firing, then there's a little bit of a cooldown before it can fire again. And you see how the Scorpion just demolishes these spawns, even with the Guardians ruining things. But yes, if you get the Atlas or the Prime or whatever it is to just fire at you for its 3-shot cycle, 4-shot cycle for the Atlas, and then break cover, you'll have a little bit of window of safety to move. Just try and get in cover before the rocket goes off. And you see Phantoms, no problem. Obviously I'm using the level's cover to avoid actually getting hit as they close, but with energy drain they are managing to hit me a few times, and I'm just draining their shields right back and getting the 40% damage reduction as well, and it's giving me plenty of survivability as they close. The Scorpion staggers them as they get close. and snap freeze and melee will finish them off when they do get into range. Nice thing about snap freeze and energy drain against phantoms is that they won't use their power shield to block it because they're instant cast. If you've got a helpful teammate like casting warp or something on the phantom or throwing grenades at it, which is particularly popular with so many grenade classes being added to the game recently. But yeah, if somebody else is getting into a power block animation, then she'll block your powers too, and that's a pain. But thanks teammates. But if she's not in her power block stance, then you can go to town with energy drain and snap freeze and just wreck her. And when she gets close, shield in the face, she will not like that at all. I think Cryo Shield is also the only thing I've ever seen which can freeze a phantom solid. Obviously when their barriers are down. If she's still got barriers by the time she gets in range, then don't expect your shield slap to save you, and the plant shield will not save you either, because she can stag you out of that without being staggered herself, and her next hit will probably be a stab through the gut, or at the very least she'll down you. So don't try and use the shield stance to stop a phantom from killing you, because it won't work. Not in melee range anyway. It's fine against her palm blaster thing. But yeah, with the Scorpion, you don't really need that protection. You just fire Scorpion pellets to the ground in front of you, and she won't be able to do anything. And she gets close enough, just hit her with your shield. It can be a little bit tricky to do that off host, because you do need to hit her before she gets in range to hit you. And figuring out exactly when that is can be a bit tricky with lag in the game. But it's not too finicky, and I can do it quite reliably most of the time. It's certainly less finicky than, say, shield batting an Atlas and trying to get out of range before he does his drill hand thing. And after the solo clip here, I'll put in a few clips of me fighting phantoms on the later full equipment solo that I did, which I was terrible at, by the way. I died like 3 times in the first 3 or 4 waves. It was atrocious. And yeah, I think it took something like 40 minutes, something ridiculous. So yeah, and there you see I was in trouble. I didn't have any cover. If I was able to use the shield plant thing and just protect myself from damage for a while, because all the enemies were coming from one direction. So the only problem I have with that is that I find it a bit difficult to deploy the shield in a hurry when I'm in a snap situation, and also just generally when you're not hosting a game. Frickin' Guardians, man. But yeah, when you're not hosting, you can often think that you've avoided a shot and then take the damage from it anyway, which is just really irritating, and it gets me killed more than it should when I'm joining public games or playing with people who are hosting in like America or whatever. Playing from the UK here. But having said that, I've played this guy mostly off host and it's been just fine. Just need to be a little bit more careful. Scorpion off host is fine. I've never had a problem with it at all. And the kind of perfect storm of staggers that this guy has, and the energy drain, shield restore and damage reduction, of course, just give you a lot of margin for error when you're in a public game and you're not hosting and there's a little bit of lag. Cool stuff like dodging out of rockets and meleeing phantoms. Maybe that's a little bit harder off host. Certainly, I'd much rather host while playing this guy. But I mean, host advantage is the best advantage in this game. There's just nothing that compares to it. You get, yeah, everything's better when you're hosting, pretty much. And, if you're not hosting, then you're already at a big disadvantage. I'm sorry, it's just how the game works. But yeah, this guy's fine with hosting. It's a little bit tricky, perhaps. You need to work a bit harder to stay alive and be a bit more cautious, but it does definitely work. One thing you won't see me doing in any of this footage is using the shield plant in kind of a team situation, and I will hopefully have a video of me playing a full group game with him up soon. You can see, by the way, that whenever I see something with shields, I'm energy draining it to keep that 40% damage reduction up and to just make sure I've got full shields. But yeah, I mean, some people approach the Paladin and they expect to just be able to spend the whole game with their shield on the floor, quote-unquote tanking. And that's just not how it works. And I mean, I'm sure you could make that happen with a team that was competent enough without you, but you're not really contributing a huge amount to the team if you're just sitting there with your shield in the ground, because most people will be able to avoid damage anyway, and a lot of the time enemies will simply ignore you. But if you can attract the attention of a Geth Prime or an Atlas, or if you're in one of those notorious hack zones, you can plant the shield and spam energy drain or snap freeze or whatever between every time the shield gets destroyed, and then just immediately plant it again. And I have, on gold anyway, certainly held off 2 Geth Primes, 3 Geth Hunters, and whatever else was behind them, Geth Prime turrets probably, just by using the shield plant and energy drain every time it was off cooldown, while my group killed them all. But obviously, when you're using the shield plant, you're not doing damage, and you're not crowd controlling enemies either. So, shield plant is certainly something you can do both for personal survival and to help the group out in strategic moments. But it's something you're going to be doing very rarely, not constantly by any means. When you do get the opportunity, though, it's a heck of a lot of fun. There's nothing quite like the center hack on Reactor, just closing down one side of that with your shield. Even if you've got like an Atlas firing rockets at you, it'll bust your shield, but you can just immediately energy drain and plant the shield again. You see here, I noticed that there's gunfire coming from the other direction, so I snap freeze through the wall, freeze the guy solid, and then slap him in the face with my Omni shield. And of course, situational awareness is your biggest survival tool in Mass Effect 3. Snap freeze is great though, because it goes through walls, it goes around cover, and it will freeze solid one unshielded enemy in front of you. And I'm not sure exactly how well it staggers the other things, but certainly I don't have any problems surviving when I'm spamming snap freeze on things. But yes, the Omni Shield is situational but very powerful, especially if, like me, you've got it spec'd out for maximum damage. And even on Platinum, it can tank Geth Prime shots, certainly. It can tank Banshee Warps, you just need to be careful with the timing if you're not hosting. Can tank Pyros. The only things that it can't really tank are brute charges. They will stag you, and then there's a big risk that you'll get meleeed and grabbed before you can recover. Oh, and also don't sit in front of a teammate with your shield up with a brute charging at you, because it's not going to help the teammate at all. They'll just get staggered as well. I did have a very helpful Paladin try to protect me when I was doing a device on a recent public gold game by standing right in front of me with his shield up while the brute came towards us both. What would have been helpful is if he had moved the brute away, if he had gotten the brute to charge in another direction, but instead he just made it charge straight at us, and I was playing an infiltrator, I was cloaked, so if he had just distracted the brute it would have been fine, but he tried to sit in front of me with his shield and the brute charged him and hit us both. So brutes, no, don't try and block them. Phantom melee, don't try and block that. I have heard some people say it will stagger a Phantom if she breaks your shield, but I've never seen that happen. Whenever a Phantom is slashed at my shield with her sword, she has given precisely 0 fucks and proceeded to either sink kill me or just stab me regularly. You see, that time I waited for him to melee before I moved. And by the way, I'm using the Hurricane at this point mostly to have a backup weapon against Guardians and if I run out of ammo, but don't need to use the Hurricane for the Scorpion. Yeah, Phantom melee is a no-go as well, but their Palm Blaster is fine. You can quite happily block that. Atlas melee, again, they can just pick you up and sink kill you after they melee you, and again the melee will burst your shield. and obviously Banshees can still sync kill you through your shield. I have tested this, and yeah, they can definitely just grab you through your shield. So everything else is pretty much fair game. It can maybe break your shield and stagger you, but generally the attacks that will stagger you won't be able to follow up from that attack fast enough to beat you to another shield stance. What I mean is, phrase that very badly, like if an Atlas fires a rocket at you and breaks your shield, you'll be staggered, but the Atlas won't be able to cast anything for a short while either, because he'll have just fired his rocket and you'll be on cooldown. So you have time to get an energy drain up and immediately replant your shield in the same motion. And you just see how little shits this guy gives about phantoms in his face. Everything that is apart from hunters. Hunters, of course, are the biggest bullshitters in the galaxy, and for some reason their GPS just goes straight through the Omni Shield, and Ravager shots can also kind of bypass it if they hit the floor or the wall or whatever around you. So that was I just closed off that video because the rest was just me going AFK. Yeah, this is now me on my proper equipment solo attempt, which was actually successful, but it just took a very long time, and I think I used all my ops packs, all my missiles. Very sloppy, but so what I'm showing you here is he's not that great against a single Atlas, but here you're about to see two Atlases come in like a posse, and I'm splitting my DPS on them as they converge, and then I'm just going to keep on firing the Scorpion at the front one and using Energy Drain to set off Tech Burst. Energy Drain also, of course, area effect, and using Snap Freeze when I think I can get away with it, because it does a bit more damage against their armor. And basically both the Atlases go down pretty much exactly the same time, because I'm doing almost identical amounts of damage to both of them. So that's pretty cool. Here just some more footage of dealing with phantoms. You see they get close, I've energy drained them before they get close. I've put Scorpion pellets on the ground, and then I smack them with a shield, and see one's about to come around the corner here. No worries, just back off, Scorpion on the ground in front of her. I hit her with a power and then smack her in the face with the shield, and down she goes. Just speed this up a bit as I run for ammo. And again, I'm going to have a Phantom come around the corner, and no worries, just Scorpion, energy drain, smack her with a shield. Fantastic. A lot of fun as well. Ironically, point blank range is pretty much ideal engagement range for this guy on a Phantom. You still have to be careful, but he certainly is very good at it. And this is the end of wave 10. I pursue a Phantom as the final kill target into a really astonishingly bad situation, and yeah, somehow I survive. You see, they've staggered me, but I've already got a Scorpion pellet on the ground. It staggers them immediately. Energy drain is draining their shields, forcing them to cloak. Another Phantom comes up behind me. Atlas is firing rockets at me, but that 40% damage reduction, the constant Scorpion staggers. And I do have to use an ops pack, but I managed to get away. And yeah, then I managed to regroup and kill the actual target Phantom. So I don't think I killed all the Phantoms there, because they ran away when they lost their shields and they cloaked, but you see I was able to survive against a heck of a lot just by using the package, the powers, the energy drain, and on that occasion I didn't use the shield, but it's there as well. So yeah, the N7 Paladin is a pretty cool guy who doesn't afraid of anything pretty much, and he's very effective against Geth, very effective against Cerberus. Just careful about Guardians, ironically. A little bit less effective against Reapers, because it's harder to get into his preferred ultra close quarters range, and the Ravagers can potentially bypass your Omni Shield, and there isn't so much stuff to energy drain. But he's not bad against Reapers by any stretch of the imagination. Yeah, Scorpion though, I just think this is a match made in heaven. Yeah, so much fun to use that combination of just ridiculous amounts of AoE damage and stagger with his particular power set, and great team utility as well with the snap freeze debuffs and the Omni Shield to protect in hack zones and stuff, and on escort missions too. So give it a try if you haven't already, and as always, thanks very much for watching.